Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off, brought to you by PrizePicks. It's me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me, as always, is the Welsh, and it feels good to be back. We've got a bunch of day games today, which is great. We're going to do the show, and then baseball is just going to happen right after. I love those days. It's super fun. Well, maybe in some places. Anyway,
Storms, a little bit of rain.
Storms are brewing, Welsh. We got all sorts of things going on there. I was off for a few days visiting my cousin, Donnie C., who's in the chat here today. He's one of the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. It was a great time. And I got to see my buddy, the Welsh, in person. There was a competition at Dave & Buster's, and Welsh is my daddy. He did beat me in the
you ruined it. We got to do the video.
I'm teasing for the video. I'm teasing for the video there. But how does it feel to be my athletic superior?
That feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. We did announce what the competitions are. I didn't have time yesterday, but I'm going to try to put together a little thing. And then I was thinking maybe Friday. I didn't know if there was a goal we needed to hit to play the video or something, Joe, but maybe we could just present everybody to hang out with us Friday and we can play. It'll just be like a minute or two. Everyone can see the competition, the massive athleticism that was displayed at Dave & Buster's between Joe and I.
Yes, massive athleticism. Welsh did try to cheat on the very first game of basketball we played on the shooty hoops because he had 6 balls and I had 3. And I'm wondering, why does he have twice as many points as I do? Well, we fixed that after the first round. So
after the first round,
commissioner had to get involved.
After the first round, I mean, I had no way to know how many balls were in the thing that comes shooting out, but we had a lot of fun. We played a lot of games. We ate some good food. A wild story we had at the yard house we went to. We had a good time spending with
That's for Discord. The story from the yard house is for Discord. FantasyPros.com/chat.
You and I should actually do we should do a Discord together this week or next week, and we should relive that story.
As Donnie C was saying, he was just very excited to be there and a part of all of it. So let's get part of the baseball. Let's start with the headlines, and let's start with back-to-back, Rowdy Tellez, Brian Anderson, Garrett Mitchell, all the home runs, the Mets pitching having some issues. We'll get to Scherzer a little later in the show with Tommy Hunter going the IL with some back issues. Brian Anderson, hell of a hot start here, hitting over 500. He's got an OPS over 1,200, got 3 dingers, 10 RBI. I have him in my waiver wire video that's set to drop tomorrow. I actually just finished recording it. I know, Welsh, you've got the video out for the trade targets, but Anderson is an interesting case because this is a guy who is in his prime. The last time that he was playing every day for the Marlins, he hit 20 bombs in 120 games. And now he's moving to an incredibly upgraded ballpark factor in Milwaukee that we saw Willy Adames, we saw Rowdy Tellez, we saw all these guys who got to Milwaukee all of a sudden spike. Can Anderson be that next guy, or is this just a mirage?
I don't have, and this is going to be a boring answer. I think it's kind of like in between. Like, I don't think you go and look and you see he's got a I think it's a 556. I just went away from it, a 556 BABIP. Like, that's not going to continue. That's not going to keep going, guys. I hate to break that news to you, but I do think he can be like a 20 homer guy because, like you said, the ballpark is pretty good. He's moving around, can play third, can play in the outfield. They want to DH him. The strikeouts seem to be lower. The walks are a little bit up. I don't see that there's any reason that he can't be a 20 homer guy. It's just, I don't think he's going to be this big, massive breakout player and he's going to be the guy that wins people leagues or anything like that. But the bat to ball skills look pretty good right now.
I'll say this, even if he ends up being somewhere in the middle at third base this year, that's a starter. Just saying, third base is kind of rough. I mean, we were talking about third base being somewhere around 8 or 9 deep in the draft, right? So if he ends up hitting 20 home runs, driving in 75 and scoring 75 or something in that range, it's kind of going to put him around 12. I think at the end of the year, looking at third baseman, I mean, will he have more points fantasy wise than Anthony Rendon by the end of the year?
Well, I mean, if Anthony Rendon keeps grabbing fans out of the stadium, then yeah, absolutely. If he tries to keep punching people. 2 things. This is an interesting note, THP, if you can put that up on the board. Anderson's faced the worst stuff plus in baseball to this point, which is something to factor in. He would be a guy that would be good for, again, my trade video is up if you guys want to check it out on the Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel, where, like what Wonky said, if you can get someone to overpay for him, do it. But I think it's too early in the point of the season where I actually think a lot of the guys you probably put in the waiver wire, I would have been interested talking about, but they're not
Totally.
in like trade for or trade away territory
No.
right now. So he's speculative, and that's my big thing right now. Speculate on these guys. You absolutely have losers on your bench. Go and pick up the rookies. You should have picked up Bryce Terang. You should pick up Brian Anderson.
Another guy who may or may not be on that video I'm creating, but you'll just have to wait till tomorrow. Grayson Rodriguez. We don't have to wait till tomorrow necessarily. We shall see. Grayson Rodriguez called up by the Orioles to face Texas today. Jacob deGrom. So that's very exciting for Orioles fans that he is up. It was a matter of time. Kyle Schwarber blasted his 200th home run of his career on Tuesday night. That put the Phillies 4-1 over the Yanks. Jason Vossler. How about those Reds? Third consecutive game there for home runs for Vossler. And of course, to nobody's surprise, Manny Machado, the first guy to be ejected for pitch clock arguing evaluation. If there was something I could have bet on for that, Welsh, I would have put $1,000 on Manny Machado being the first guy to get tossed in a game for it.
Did you see what the actual reason was?
Well, I mean, the actual reason was whatever he said.
We know what he said.
He did I mean, I watched it back this morning. He did hold the hand up at the 8-second mark.
No, he called for the timeout, but it's the ump's discretion to not give it to him. But he called him a certain type of bag, and then the ump immediately tossed him. Look, sure, a fun bag. The funniest moment was when Bob Melvin came running up to the ump and was like, "Why did you throw him?" And he says, "Because he called me a bag." And then Bob Melvin's face falls in almost a laughter type of way that Manny did that. It's a classic Manny thing. One thing I want to go back since you zipped through all the news. One thing apparently on Grayson Rodriguez, at this point in the season, him being called up, he is actually still eligible for the Orioles to get the pick compensation at this point. So I guess it was an opening day roster. It's like the first 10 days or something. He is still eligible in that now the Orioles, if they kept Grayson up, Grayson and Gunnar could both qualify that team for the pick compensation stuff that Major League Baseball has. So just throwing that out there.
I'm so glad that I came back here today for injuries. So I didn't miss Eloy Jimenez going back on the IL again. So here's your injuries, folks. Hamstring strain, probably 2 to 3 weeks here for Jimenez. I mean, I am just furious about this. Like I just absolutely furious. Enough is enough. I'm willing to just sell him low now. I just don't care. And for those people like Dr. Glenn is in my home league, I'm sure it's gonna be a trade waiting for me in the inbox right after this show. I have had it. Mookie Betts dealing with the right ankle soreness. He's gonna be day to day. Max Fried, they're hoping is only going to miss 1 to 2 starts. We shall see if that is true. I mean, it's so early in the year. I hope they don't rush him back. That would be horrendously stupid if you're the Braves. So he officially went to the IL. Johnny Cueto to the IL. Kenta Maeda was pulled from his start due to fatigue, but he said, "I'm fine." It's just, still working his way back for Tommy John. So keep an eye on that. And then for those of you in the prospect world, Brett Beatty was removed Tuesday. Now, he had some right thumb soreness. He'd have surgery on that thumb in the offseason. So the hope is that they're going to go for imaging and see what's going on.
They already did. It's actually, they said no structural damage, which is a really good sign. So probably sits for a couple days. It's really funny too, because I literally was just talking about Brett Beatty yesterday with Derek Van Riper in that, like, I believe Brett Beatty's a guy that's up by May 1st. Even after this 100%. Injury, I still think he's a guy that's back up. I think he's the first call. And this is a really great sign that didn't get derailed. Yeah.
And it seemed like it was just more in terms of just fatigue. And, he's the first time he's been playing so much since the surgery. So it's just something. It's always better to be safe than sorry with those guys. But I'm with you 100%. Yeah. Beatty is going to be up for the Mets. Here's some fun things. The Franmil sighting yesterday for the Kansas City Royals, wearing his number 99, looking svelte. He hit a 455-foot home run. And Ginkle, our boy Ginkle, remember, if you ginkle when you tinkle, please be sweet and wipe the seat. He got a W. Welsh, how do you feel about your Ginkle?
I like my Ginkle. I like my Ginkle in the games. Of interesting note, our dear friend Saris noted that apparently the Diamondbacks were tipping pitches in those first couple starts. Ginkle was one of them that was tipping. Mm-hmm. He had a really good breakdown where, like, I think it was off-speed stuff. His wrist was bent up, and he fixed that in that next start, and he was pretty good. But the more interesting note in that was Dre Jameson got the save in that game from Ginkle. Yep. He got a 2-inning or 1 2/3. I don't remember what it was. I think it was 2 innings. But he ended up getting the save going 2 in that, which was a complete contrast because Scott McGuff sucks and he's just just blowing that right out.
Well, that's another guy to pick up too. I mean,
McGuff or Ginkle?
No, the closer that you just mentioned.
Yeah, Scott McGowan. Well, he just blew a save in the last one. I don't think he's particularly looked fantastic. The splitter was blah. So I don't know. He might still get the opportunities. What's more interesting to me is where Dre Jameson goes, because
that's what I'm talking about. Dre Jameson.
Oh,
that's
yeah. Because Dre, I thought was a guy, if Bumgarner, which I still can't believe they're going to let him go out there. If Bumgarner wasn't going to be there, he would get the next start. But then they put him in a save situation, and his pitch usage was way different in this game than the first one. It's something I tweeted about. Over 50% slider usage in the first game as like a starter replacement. In relief, 24% slider. He was getting hit up a little bit, and then he struck out Nelson Cruz last night on 3 straight sliders. So they need to fix that. And I think that's something they'll do, but I have no idea where he's going to go. If he's a closer, I actually think he could be a lights out closer if he keeps that.
I would pick him up and speculate right now.
Either way,
he didn't make my top 5, but he was right on the outside of it for that video. Yeah. Here's one from our friend in the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks crew. Great question here from Bizarrizza Jizza, the last member of the Wu-Tang Clan. How worried should I be with Zach Gallen, Welsh?
I wouldn't be too worried about it. I mean, it's not what you want.
If I could.
Yeah, I would be 100%. I would. This is like the weird time. What are we? Not even a week. We're not even a week into the season. This isn't a thing where like I'm unrailing and just dumping off all my guys. The same reason I wouldn't lose my mind about.
You just did it. Like you did a Welshism. You didn't derail.
Railing. We didn't
derail. I don't know.
We didn't either of it. Don't do anything with Zach Gallen except maybe go buy opportunities. I think he did something similar-ish to last year, and it's a mid-season role where the guy just goes off and pitches 7 innings and stuff like that. Doesn't give up any runs, and he's incredible on the quality starts. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Catchers also kind of stink in Arizona right now too.
It hasn't even been a week, but we do have our first official Joe's Tough Guys of the year. So very excited. Josh Smith said yesterday he's doing fine. Hopefully we'll be back on the field soon. For those of you who don't know, got hit in the face by a pitch. Was certainly scary stuff always. So good on you, Josh. First tough guy of the year. We love Joe's Tough Guys. I don't know. We should give them something. I don't know what.
We should. Like, what would you give them? Like,
I don't know. I don't know what we give them. Like,
something.
Like maybe like an old baseball card or something. Like just a random 1983 tops of like Jose Cruz. From the
I think you should have like an honorary like Pisa Pia like Band-Aid or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good one. Autographed Band-Aids for me.
We could almost pretend the like skin color one is just your head. So it's like game used Band-Aid from Joe. Hey, I meant to mention this. I don't know if you saw it. Our buddy Mike Mayer put in our chat a trivia question. I know we're not doing those like crazy this year, but this is an interesting trivia question. I will ask it since I remember what he said. Joe, did you know that there's only one team in baseball that does not have a current stolen base? Do you know which team? As stolen bases are running wild, my friend. That was it. Yeah, it says there's only one MLB team who's yet to even attempt a stolen base. I'm sorry, they haven't even attempted a stolen base.
Gosh, I mean, is it the Nats? No.
We're going to have to find out. Let's see who puts it. Mayor's actually going to have to put the answer because I'm actually.
Yeah, is Mayor even here? I haven't even seen him. Is he even going to work today?
Let's see in the chat. Let's see in the chat without anyone looking. Who is the team that has not even attempted a stolen base?
Guess the Yankees. That was my initial instinct too. I was thinking of like teams that are just having trouble.
Volpe's got 3. Volpe's got 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it's not Volpe. That's how I knew it wasn't the Yankees. So yeah. While you guys figure that out,
I guess the Rockies.
That's a good one too. Rockies are a good one too. Here's 3 up and 3 down from last night. Sandy Alcantara, complete game shutout, not too shabby. I mean, this guy's just unbelievable. You know, I mean, people are saying, "Well, the strikeout." Relax. This guy is as good as it gets right now. And I can't wait to see what his price tag is going to be at some point because he is building quite the resume at some point. And we all know Miami's going to have to trade him. Like there's no way they're going to fork up the money to sign him. I'd be shocked if that happens. They'd have to break the bank and they're not one to even open it. Framber Valdez, 7 innings, 2 earned, but he did get the loss here yesterday, which is a little frustrating, but this is a fun fact, which we got to keep in mind every time he faces the Detroit Tigers. Versus the Tigers in his last 22 innings, Welsh, 24 strikeouts, there's 4 earned runs in his last 22 innings. That's pretty good. So it's like automatic. And your boy Teoscar Hernandez last night, 2 dingers, 15th career multi-home run game. You had mentioned quite a bit this offseason about how important Teoscar was and that addition. I agreed 100% with you. It's already paying dividends, that move for the Mariners this offseason. And he kind of feels like one of those missing pieces for them. I think they might be one more bat away. But Welsh, Teoscar getting off to a good start, that's good for the M's.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a big impact. You know, I I was just still baffled by like all the focus on like Toronto, and it's even worse in Seattle. And we even saw the expected home run numbers were actually better for him hitting in Seattle. And that's exactly what they need. They need lineup protection. You know, I know that can be like a misnomer, but like that, Julio needs some more lineup protection. If he's going to also be leading off in spots, you need him to be batted in. And I actually agree with you on that too. I think they need one more big piece. The problem is, when the hell is that going to come? Because when are teams going to start being comfortable trading off? It's only the Reds at this point, maybe the Pirates or something. I mean, the Pirates aren't even moving Brian Reynolds.
The unbeatable Reds? You mean those Reds?
Well, I mean, they were the team that was
always love
April early on.
April's always fun. You always get like a team that you're not expecting to get off to a good start, and you're just like, come on, it's the Reds. The Reds are going to be terrible. Just stop, okay? Also, here's the answer. Mark got it. It's the Twins and Mr. X, also with the Frank Sinatra profile. Got it. The Twinkies don't have.
I guess you could imagine, you start build that roster out for a minute in your head, and then start thinking, who's the guy that was attempting?
Well, Buxton doesn't steal bases anymore. No. You knew that from last year.
Gallo, Miranda. I mean, none of those guys are doing any of it. This is a good point.
I wonder if I will have more stolen bases than Joey Gallo by the end of the year. We shall see. Here's your 3 down from last night. Max Scherzer, 8 home runs in his last 16 innings pitched since the 2022 postseason. Just throwing that out there. So giving up a lot of home runs. After in the post game last night, he just said, "Look, I just got to pitch better." Well, there you go. Deep words from Max Scherzer. Kyle Finnegan. It's not going to be a lot of wins for the Washington Nationals. And last night, when you have a lead, you blow a save. That pretty much will do it to you. A third of an inning, 5 hits, 5 earned. The ERA sits at 27 right now. And Jose Suarez last night for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, 4 1/3 innings, 6 earned runs, gave up 2 homers. His ERA is 12.46. So any concerns with Scherzer here? And like, you know, he is 40 now. We are at that point here where these guys, late 30s, early 40s pitchers. I know they're still high-end Scherzer. We saw the first start, you know, he looked very good against the Marlins. But, you know, over the entire course of the season, what is your confidence level in Scherzer? Mine is low, which is why I was passing on him, because I feel like there's going to be a little bit more peaks and valleys. And the injuries the last couple of years, certainly missing some starts. I just feel a fear of the body breaking down a little bit. But where do you stand with Scherzer? Was this a buy opportunity after this bad start?
I think if it's like 85% on the dollar, you know what I'm saying? If it's like 85 cents on the dollar, like maybe. I think I'm a little bit worried with you. That's the old, falling knife syndrome. You don't want to catch him too far on the way down. But at the same time, like he kind of like last year, he actually had a really good March and April. May was his big bumpy month, but he had a 3.2 ERA. He proceeded to have a mid-2 or beating the mid-2 ERA the rest of the way through, from July through October. So he showed a lot of consistency. So what's changed in that time? I'm not really sure much has changed outside of maybe a little bit more added pressure with Verlander out. I think this is probably a buy opportunity. Again, anything that happens in the first week of baseball for players in the top 50, I think there tends to be buying opportunities overall because of this pure panic thing that's going on. But I wouldn't want to pay like top dollar. Hey, I'm getting a top 7 SP for Scherzer. I would need more of a discount because this is a little bit worrisome how this is starting off, but I think he's going to level out, and he's shown that he levels out.
Rest of season, who would you rather have, Zach Gallen or Max Scherzer?
Oh man, I would rather go with Scherzer still.
Okay.
I don't think you agree.
No, it's close. I want to see the poll. Mike Mayer, get a poll going up there. Run up the flagpole, Mayer. Let's go. Let's get to some PrizePicks. Let's get to today. And of course, PrizePicks, one of the sponsors of today's show. As always, make sure that you head over to PrizePicks today. Use that promo code leading off. Again, it's one word, leading off. Easy to remember because it's the name of the show. You can pick the over-under on player props and win up to 25 times your money. It's the easiest and fastest way to go play daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks is really fun. Again, the sponsor of leading off, and they'll match your deposit up to $100. That first deposit can't beat that, baby. So, Welsh, you're the prize picker. Let's pick some prizes.
Well, it wasn't yesterday. It wasn't yesterday with anything for me. I had
long season. Everybody has a bad start.
I had a humbling day yesterday. I had probably my best first week of any sport gambling that I've ever had. Absolute on fire. And yesterday humbled me with everything that went down. So I'm ready to get back to it. I actually haven't launched into a 5 picker for PrizePicks. I think we'll get there. If we can, once we get back to hitting, which we did hit on opening day, we hit a 3. We're going to go a little bit further. Though I will say I have a caveat because I'm going to give you 3, but but I think there's a fourth you can add, and it's a part of yours. Here are my 3 on the PrizePicks. I'm going with Randy Arozarena fantasy score 8.5. I will tell you, PrizePick on their fantasy score is more generous than a few other places that do similar things. That is a really nice thing. You get a couple little extra points here and there, even on like the stolen base front. So I love Randy Arozarena score 8.5. I know you've got him tied in. I haven't done this yet. I'm going with TJ Friedl, hit, run, RBI, 1.5.
Good one.
Under I'm going with up against Marcus Stroman, who Stroman looked really good in some of his changes in the last start. And then I'm adding Mike Trout total bases 1.5 over. So those are my 3. 20 can get you 100 if you place that bet. The guy that I will add is the one that Joe put in. I don't know if the number has necessarily changed. The betting market it has. I could add in Shane McClanahan strikeout over. You put it on, so I decided not to, but I would 100% be comfortable changing out or adding if you want to do a 4-timer.
Yeah, day games are always wacky too. Those are, typically speaking, I know this is weird, but I don't like to play a lot of DFS in the day game slates. Different guys, they play differently in the day. You have the lineup changes, all these kind of things going on, weirdness during day games. I stay away from the
day and night so different. I mean,
the sun and the moon, Welsh. That's why. By the way, look at this. This guy, Mike Mayer. What was the question for the poll? I wasn't even listening. What are you doing? Making a sandwich, Mayer? Like, what are you doing? I mean, I think somebody eventually directed him the right way, but come on, Mayor. All right, it's my PrizePicks today. Again, I've got Shane McClanahan in the over with the 6 pitcher strikeouts. Corbin Burns over with the 6.5 against the Mets today. That game's at 140. So again, you got to get these in quickly. We're giving it to you right now. Randy Arozarena was my guy, 1.5 total bases. Same thing with Wander Franco, but as Welsh said, the fantasy points also a way you can go. Speaking of which, let's get the betting out there too, because we're getting close to some of these 1:00 games pretty soon. Shane McClanahan. You can get the 5.5. I know you've got that one. Here's my big. I'm gonna let Welsh go for his after I lay out this parlay for everybody.
Sure.
I've got McClanahan the 5.5 strikeouts. You can get that at Bet Rivers on the over. I got Luzardo on the 6.5 on the under. Again, I'm just a little worried about the innings today. On DK, that's an interesting one. Then Corbin Burns again 6.5. The over on FanDuel. Garrett Cole 9.5 strikeouts. I'm gonna go the under on DK. I think that's a very high number against the Phillies today. My favorite thing though, on the money line, boys and girls, I'm not a big parlay person. I don't tend to do this, but on the money line, you put Milwaukee with Burns, Houston with Christian Javier going against the Detroit Tigers, and you've got the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim tonight with Ohtani. That's a 3-leg parlay. That'll move up to plus 288. You put those 3 things together there, you'll win almost 3 times your money. So Milwaukee, Houston, Angels on the money line, parlay together, 3-1. That's my favorite bet of the day. Welsh, what do you have there in terms of wagering you're looking at?
I like your money line parlay. I think those are actually fun to mess around with some of those. So I think that's a really good one. Well, I did have Shane McClanahan. I will tell you guys, I got it last night at 5.5 over. It has since moved to 6.5 on most books. And even if it is 5.5, the odds stink right now. It's like minus 165. So if I were doing it, I'm probably pairing it. I know parlays are dangerous and you got to really be careful about them. I don't mind doing 2 player prop parlays to mess around. And one guy you could add, his is one of my solo ones, is Pablo Lopez, strikeout 6.5. It is minus 125. I love this one because the Marlins are striking out more than any team in baseball. They're the number 1 strikeout team in baseball. Pablo Lopez with the big changes, even though his numbers were up before. I was hoping this would be 5.5. I'll still take it 6.5. And you could pair that with McClanahan to get some good money. I actually have a little hit parlay for you. Ooh. Goldie and Seager 0.5 over hit. So they just need a hit. You've got Goldie going up against Bryce Elder. And then you've got Corey Seager going up against Grayson Rodriguez. And he's going to be hitting high in the lineup. Get both of those guys. It'll get you plus 105. So it's essentially even money for just any type of hit for them. And then finally, I've got a first 5 team total. St. Louis Cardinals in the first 5 innings, their team total runs 2.5 over. It's minus 110. So it's essentially 3 runs against Bryce Elder for the Cardinals in the first 5, which they average over 4 runs in the first 5. So there you go.
Don't forget, everybody, before we get to DFS in just a second, my playbook, download it right now and win. It's easy. Download, win. It's a very easy mathematical equation here. You get the lineup assistant, the waiver wire assistant, the trade analyzer, the league analyzer, all the incredible tools at my playbook. And you can upgrade again, fantasypros.com/premium. And boom, when you go premium, look, big things here. You get the custom advice. You get access to all of us on stages, on our Discord. You can manage all your teams. You get all the draft tools. You get 1 free premium upgrade we're giving away every couple weeks here on the program. So if you haven't already, if you want to get in on that, drop a comment below in one of these discussions we have here on one of our daily leading off shows, and you might be the big winner. But you could also not wait and go to fantasypros.com/premium and just sign up today. Now, Welsh, in terms of, again, I told you, keep it simple here in DFS stuff in these day slates. You've got a couple situations here depending on how you want to run this. You know, you could skip the 12:30 games, just play the 1 o'clocks, which is probably what you want to do. Shane McClanahan's at 10K against Washington. It's a lock and load. Corbin Burns is an interesting tournament play because the first start was a little rocky. Whatever, who cares? It's going against the Mets today. I think he's going to strike out a ton of guys. And Christian Javier against Detroit at 10K is even cheaper than both of them. I'd be looking to stack Houston, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Tampa. I'm going to go against the Elder today with the St. Louis Cardinals. But you get a lot of cheap bats in there as well, including guys like Brian Anderson, who's a value at 2.5. A couple of those guys in Milwaukee, they're going against Peterson. I like Peterson. Look for some of the right-handed bats there. Look for some of the Cardinals today against the young pitcher. Going to get into that bullpen early today for the Braves, most likely. And same thing.
That's why I like that team total. That's why I got my team total 2.5 runs in the first 5 is getting to that bullpen. And by the way, Tampa, on your stacks, I love your Houston, St. Louis, and Tampa Bay specifically. Wander and Randy would be guys I would be trying to get in lineups.
100%. And Tampa with Wander Franco. By the way, in just a moment, we're going to spoil what that is today. But again, home run calls, I know, going well. I took a couple of days off. I'm trying to give everybody a head start like I did last year, so they hate me more when I catch up to them, because that's me. I'm a nice guy. Wow. And again, if you want to get in on this, go to fantasypros.com/chat, join Discord, join the home run channel, start making your picks. We're giving away incredible things. Also, bettingpros.com/leading off. We have a betting group too, so go join that. Again, bettingpros.com/leading off. So join us for all the fun. Got fun leaderboards going away. We're giving away free subscriptions to Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros to monthly leaders. We've also got some really cool season-long gifts we're giving out as well, which brings us, of course, to our home run calls for the day. And I'm going with Wander Franco. I'm staying on brand here with Wander Franco. Patrick Corbin, let's go. I always get excited for Patrick Corbin starts. So Wander Franco looks pretty good. And I'm riding that Wander Franco train. It is going to be comical when we look back at the end of the year. I think that he was like the 80th player going off the board. Absolutely comical, Welsh. I can't wait to look back and laugh at it. Ha ha.
Me too. Dude, this was one of the guys I actually stacked in 3 different leagues. I stacked Seager and Wander Franco together in the shortstop, middle infield. Wander Steger. That's what I've got. And I've got both of those guys together, and I'm totally with you on that. I like that call. As you said, it's going well. It's not going well. As everybody knows, the coin had flipped me in the wrong direction 3 straight times. Yesterday, nothing worked out. Neither one of my guys got on the board. Unbelievable. The Aaron Judge one was the epitome of how bad my day was. We couldn't get anything out of Judge, and we didn't get it out of Freddie Freeman either. Today I'm going with a little bit of like a BVP play, if you will, because I'm going with George Springer. George Springer has an over 500 career batting average against Zach Greinke. Also in that leadoff spot, it's just kind of a great piece to get because I'm going to get more at-bats and more opportunities. So I'm hoping to get on the board. We're not flipping any coins. We're not doing any of that today. I got to get on the damn board, Joe. I'm ready to go.
Yes.
That's why here's to us getting right there.
Sorry. It's funny how the night moves. I love Bob Seger. He's great. Silver Bullet Band there. By the way, I don't know if you realize this or not. You know, my cousin, he started his own little podcast, and I say little, but it sounds condescending when I say that. But funny story here for everybody leading off. Welsh, take it for a second because I got a call again here on the show live, which is really.
Yeah, no, I know how it goes. No, this is a great story because you know how I got humbled in my betting yesterday? Joe was humbled being in the presence of Donnie, and I know exactly the story that you're going to tell. That Joe got humbled in his
this is funny.
In his world.
So I'm in the car here. We're going to close the show with the story time because everybody likes story time today. I'm going to close the show with this. So we're out at my, little cousin's soccer game. We're all hanging out. We're leaving, some of the coaches' assistants. They know Donnie's got a show, and I'm sitting there with, he just started it a couple of weeks ago. He's very excited about it. It's great. I told him you should do this. He's a very entertaining guy, as everybody here knows in the chat. And I'm sitting in the passenger side, and he's talking outside of the car to, here we go. He's already ready for the story. He's talking outside of the car to the assistant coaches, and they're like, oh, your cousin's in. That's fun. Why don't you have him on the podcast? That'd be fun for him to be on the podcast.
Get him a little exposure. By the way, if everyone's not understanding, this is for Donnie to have Joe on the podcast.
For my cousin Donnie to have me on his podcast that just started a few weeks ago. And I said, I said to him, that would be great. I wonder what that's like to be on a podcast and a show. I hope I don't screw it up. It was hilarious. I did not let it live it down the rest of the weekend. It became the running joke, and I am so happy for it because I was almost in tears crying about we were so. And then they kept somebody asked him some betting advice too.
That's what I was
even better. I looked at him, and he is not a huge sports guy. He watches the show because he loves me, and I love him. But he's not a big sports guy. And I'm standing right next to him, listening to him, and the guy's asking him, "Should I let UConn ride?" And I'm like, doesn't even know what he's talking about. He thinks UConn is like a school for criminals. Like UConn. He has no idea. Like what exactly
that was my favorite part of the story was then like, hey, let's get some gambling advice.
So I'm next time I'm away, I'm just gonna have Donnie host the show. But maybe you and I can get on that podcast. That'd be fun.
We'll make it someday, Joe. We'll make it someday.
There you go. I told you, Donnie, it was gonna happen. It was just hilarious. I loved it. It was so great. But again, his show is very fun. You should check it out too. He's shooting straight with Donnie C. He's starting up his podcast, which again, I encourage everybody to start a podcast, except Dr. Glenn. Dr. Glenn should not do a podcast. Nobody wants to hear him go on and on. But Welsh, it's good to be back here. I missed you. In terms of things that are exciting again today, if you missed it, it just came out today. Go check out Welsh's trade video. We're going to be doing a trade video every week, just like last year. We're going to be doing the waiver wire pickup video. That's coming out tomorrow. I've got that in the works already. So if you haven't already subscribed to FantasyPros MLB, make sure you head over to PrizePicks as well. Use that promo code leading off when you sign up because it helps us. It helps you get 100% deposit match up to $100. Win 25 times your money. We're giving you picks. We're helping you break the code for the PrizePicks. So it's a good time there. So yeah, that's right. I called you out, Dr. Glenn. Jay Full knows that. So there you go. And of course, if you got extra sports betting advice, just go to my cousin.
Go to Donnie. Donnie just started a Twitter handle too. Just followed me. I got to follow Donnie back. So
the funniest part too, he's like, you literally are on a show that's on Amazon Prime for sports betting. And he was asking me cross your face as though you're not there. So humbling, which is great. And God knows if anything, I needed to be humbled. And I got humbled by Welsh in Dave & Buster's too, from the basketball shooting and other events of our Olympic trial. So great show here. Good to see all my peanuts and Cracker Jacks back. Thanks again to the Worm for filling in, giving me a couple of days off there with the kiddos. I appreciate it. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on for the Welsh. I'm Joey P. Enjoy your afternoon baseball today, boys and girls. Peace.